Greetings, ladies and gentle readers. I'm Dwyer, and I just finished Path of Ascension, Book 3. Now, I know some of you who are paying attention to the channel might be aware that I said I was probably never reading another book in this series ever again after Book 2. Because, for those of you who had not seen it, Book 2 was quite literally a lot of people being assaulted. And by assaulted, I do mean the R word that I will not be using because I don't want to demonetize myself, though I'm not monetized right now anyway, so that's kind of weird. Anyway, I might be monetized in the future, but not if I keep saying that word. Yeah, this person, Sea Mantis, a little bit of a weirdo. And second one, his like kinks were flying very, very strong. So I was like, I don't know if I want to read book 3, but I kept remembering book 1. I really, really enjoyed it. So yeah, I read book 3. And I'm proud to say that his kinks are pushed back. Thank God. Good sense prevailed. But unfortunately, it does not live up to book 1. For those of you who need a quick recap of the series thus far, book 1 begins essentially with a person, the main character, Matt in this case, essentially being dealt a really bad hand. And it was really, really enjoyable because despite the fact that he was dealt a bad hand, he had to find a way to overcome the problems that essentially just started raining down all across his hopes and dreams. And by like digging deep and being, stubborn, I guess you would say, he stayed on to his path. He's like, I'm going to figure out how to make my dreams work no matter what. And he was recognized for it. And then he went somewhere, I'm trying to avoid like deep spoilers. And then he, went somewhere to train up. He had some falls, almost got himself killed a couple of times, learned his lessons, improved as a person, made some friends. Felt like you were not the main character of that particular story because they went off to do other things, as life often does. And then he had to, figure out his way forward from there. Like, book 1 felt like it actually flowed rather organically, and that's what really hooked me with book 1. Given what I'm seeing right now, and I want you to see this and tell me if I'm crazy, I think book 1 probably took a while to write. But we have book 3 here, released May 10th, 2023. If we scroll down on book 2, released February 2nd, 2023. And last but not least, we have book 4 scheduled to be released September 13th, 2023. I know that this is a Royal Road thing, right? A quick Google search does in fact find Path. Yeah, it does in fact show Path of Ascension on good old Royal Road. So this is probably a person who had an idea for book 1 a lot for longer than he obviously first began writing. Probably took some time to really flesh out his ideas, but unfortunately, book 2, 3, and 4 have been released in a very short time. And it shows. It really shows. Because we don't have the same kind of character development that we had in the first one, where we kind of like saw who they were and like the setbacks and how they handle, things not going their way and like both intellectual and emotional character development as they deal with life and the tasks before them. We have all of that completely wiped from book 2, 3, and I'm gonna assume 4. And that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. So what is book 3 then? What is book 3? Well, book 3 is a training exercise. They call it a war, but it's not a war because a bunch of like weaker individuals, the main character and the people around him, are fighting a war that's being overlooked by like really, really strong individuals, make sure no one dies. For points, like in a video game. And yeah, it's a training exercise. It doesn't mean anything at all from start to finish. So that right there for me is a really high bar that you have to clear now, because you just said this entire everything that's going on right now doesn't matter. It has no meaningful impact on anything, which means the character development in this book has to be top 10 out of 10 to really hook you. Because the actions, kind of useless. There's nothing really on the line. The results of those actions are, again, not really important. It's just a training exercise for the most part. And there's no character development. None. Zero. Zilch. The only character development that I can remember in this entire book that is 700 pages? No, sorry, I'm an idiot. Why did I think this was 700 pages? Oh, the Kindle says it's 727 pages. Right, so the only meaningful character development in this entire thing is the main character gets angry at someone and accepts a challenge to a duel. They get really, really angry, and it's supposed to reflect how they're having trouble controlling their anger over some things, but it completely falls flat because for the entire rest of the book, there's no anger issues at all. So if they were trying to go with a main character that's kind of breaking under the pressure and struggling to deal with the things that he has to deal with, it's not really there because that's absent for the rest of the entire book. So that's not a thing. It's just this one instance. And I wish this was a joke, but this is one instance someone's like, oh, your mother, smells like army boots. And then he's like, oh, I'm gonna kill you for that one. But it's filler because you can tell in that section, the author was just needing something to happen. Anything to happen to get the main character out of commission for a while because he's trying to set up a way to wrap all this up, and he wraps it up by waving his magical pencil and just YOLOing a bunch of random stuff out of nowhere. It's and now this happens and this happens, and you didn't know about any of these things throughout the entire book, but ha ha ha, they were there all along, and that's what's really going on. Hoo hoo hoo. So yeah, any reveal falls flat because there was no build up to the reveal. It was just bang, reveal. This is how we're ending the war. But the worst part about the entire thing is just over and over again, the author is just pulling numbers out of nowhere without any comprehension of what he's writing about. Because what they love to do in this particular book is use the word million, and I don't think the author has any idea what a million really is. How high that number is. Point of fact, this is Michigan Stadium. It holds 100,000 people, thereabouts. Got a capacity of about 100 and some thousand. And you can see how large this area is for 100,000, right? And you're not dealing with 1 million. You're usually dealing with 1.5 million or 2 or sometimes 4 million soldiers that are in this war in one battle. So I want you to picture, 40 of these on one side. You couldn't even put 40 of these in this shot, in this city. You couldn't even fit 40 of these stadiums there. But that's what we're expected to say is taking place in certain fights. They're going in with 2 million soldiers and there's 2 million backing them up. It's you know how many people that is, bro? You don't, do you? Because the very next sentence you say that the main character can look over his shoulder and see the other side. No, you can't. Oh, no, you can't. You have any idea how many 1 million soldiers are? Much less 1.5 million. 2, 3, 4 million. These numbers are staggering. And it's clear that the author is just pulling them right out of his butt. Has no idea what those numbers mean. Because it's not only just that. the support that you would need for that many people. Accommodation. Like they're sleeping somewhere, right? It's like, oh yeah, they're all in a city. Like you're gonna tell me that there's 4 million people? Soldiers, just soldiers alone. In that city? Okay. Well, there's New York with a population of about 6 million. So your city's of half the size of New York City? And you're telling me the main character is looking over his shoulder to see the other what's going on the other end of it. Bruh, you gave no thought at all to the numbers you were just pulling out of your butt. And unfortunately, it just draws you right out of the book. And yet, despite all of this, despite the author like really going hard on being like, oh, there's millions of people here and millions of people here, and there's like 500,000 troops charging this and that and the other thing. Somehow, they never have enough people. Yeah, like the whole upper echelon of the command structure during this war, they're unguarded completely. Yeah, they're just all getting assassinated left and right, apparently, because there's just not enough people to guard them. What can I say? I mean, where are you going to find the people? Where are the people going to come from? It's like, dude, you just said, you've been saying all the time, like the big thing with you and how big this training exercise is. And there's millions here. Like, you could easily have like 100 people guarding your general. Nah? Just gonna use 4? Okay, sure. Why not? Sounds good. Got a million. Let's use 4. Can't see anything going wrong. Or just let him walk around by himself. And the other side is the exact same way. It's like none of it was thought out. And you know why it wasn't thought out is because of this right here. Publication date. May 17th, 2023. And the other one was put out the same. I know. It's been out for 2 years on Royal Road. I don't care. Do the math on how many pages that is. The first chapter came out 2 years ago. So in 2 years, you wrote 4 books. Because the other one's apparently like pretty much done and scheduled for release in September. So you've written thousands of pages in 2 years. Good authors will write 1.5 in that time because they'll make sure what they're reading is edited, it's read, it's reread, it's given to other people to look in and out of, make sure that your plot is solid. No, none of that's happening here. Like I love that you're trying to put out books fast. I do. It's good. It's good. It's good. It's good. You obviously have passion underneath you to really write and finish this, but the books are just like ankle deep. There's no depth here at all, and the little things that you're trying to put in the book are either flat out impossible with what you've already told us, or contradicts itself because you're not taking the time to do better. So I want to like the book, but I can't. I can't. So far, I like book 1. Book 1's worth a read. I might even read book 1 again. I will never read book 2. I will never reread book 3. There's no reason to. They're both pointless. There's just not enough attention being played to it. So I'm not going to waste my attention rereading it. I hope book 4 is better. I really do. I don't think it is, given the timelines I'm seeing on these books being written. Highly unlikely. So I can't wait to see what kind of a dumpster fire the next book is. I guess I'll read it and review it for you guys for lulz, but keep your expectations really, really low. Mine can't really get much lower. Path of Ascension, book 3, which is another thing. The names. He's not even coming up with unique names for his books. Not even spending enough time to do that. That was probably the first hint. Either way, that's this. Read it or not. Who really cares? And here's hoping the next book I read is better. Take care, everyone.